All right, welcome to episode number 14 of NFA. And this is a little bit of an interesting one because we're filming this a few days late and we're going to blame COVID, but really wasn't really COVID's fault at all. But anything these days, we blame COVID or we blame ScoMo. So
Thanks, Dan Andrews.
it's out of our hands. Sorry, Dictator Dan had handcuffed with that one. We were too busy attending some riots in Melbourne or something, whatever that may be. But today I might start by actually, we're not going to release the figures till afterwards. So maybe I'll talk through my trades and what they're doing, and I'll share screen.
You're going to want to see this because you've been crushing the trades.
Yes, the only thing they can't see is that the host has disabled participant screen sharing.
Good. I did that on purpose, just so everyone knew who the host was around here.
Yes.
But I will permit you to share now.
On the weekend. There we go. Here we go. So if we jump across to my stocks over here, and this was as of Sunday. It is Wednesday now, I believe. So you can see Tyro 23.34% up in 14 weeks is unreal. Webjet 26.34% up. That's even higher today, actually. Tyro, we won't talk about. And Group 16.94% up. So just really, really doing quite well in these COVID recovery stocks. And we've talked about it a fair bit already, but expecting to see a lot more growth through Tyro. My personal prediction for Tyro, and this is not financial advice, is that we're going to be over $5 by the end of the year.
Wow.
Hopefully we can look back on this episode. $5.
Sorry, called it here first.
You called it here first.
That's big.
Webjet 26.34. I'm going to look to exit this stock later this year around December, I think, because I imagine that's when we're going to start to see it peak. Everything's going to be open up again. We're seeing some really big things happening in the world, in Australia anyway, such as New South Wales is going to drop all restrictions for vaccinated people from December 1st, which means we're going to be having lots more travel and other states are going to have to follow suit. So we're seeing some really big moves from the recovery stocks here. And then that's obviously going to impact things like Scentre Group, which is Westfield, more people going back to shopping. I mean, Scentre Group's gained 17% and they're basically closed in the two largest economies in Australia. So unless they're completely pricing in their recovery now, which I don't think they are because we're not back to pre-pandemic levels, then I think this stock has a long way to go, well above $4.
Bro, and then you've also got with SCG and Tyro, once international travels opens up to Australia, that's a lot of visitors and a lot of money coming in on those terminals and shopping at those shops.
Exactly. And how do they get there? Webjet.
Web beds. Stay in a web bed.
They can go Flight Centre. I'm not in Flight Centre in this challenge, but I'm still heavily invested in Flight Centre too. So, however, if we come down here, this is where a bit of a stitch up is happening. My 3 NFTs not doing too well. I got Bitcoin Keys, Painting, and Nuts have all dropped in value. And so they've lost about $12,000 value since I first went into them. So if you're looking for a good way to transform $30,000 into $18,704.31, you found it here first.
This is financial advice if that is your goal.
This is absolutely financial advice. However, still expecting that these are going to rise over the next couple of weeks. And for a long-term bet, I still think they are a very good bet. I'm going to sit on these for quite a while. I'd like to be able to liquidate one of these over the next 4 to 6 weeks. So I'm hoping that we see a bit of a bull run because that's going to allow me to look forward to my next investment, which I would like to be Alibaba. Now,
yes,
we talked earlier. I don't know if we said this in this challenge here or this was something else we were talking about, was that when we're building businesses, we should be reinvesting into the platforms we use for the business. If back when you started your Amazon business, your Amazon course, you reinvested 50% of the profits into Amazon, that would be worth so much more today than you could have actually earned from that, which is crazy. So it's like if we're backing a platform and we're going to use it because we see growth in that platform that allows us to create a business on it, well, then to me, it makes a lot of sense to also invest a lot of your profits back into that platform. And I was picking between Amazon and Alibaba to start with. And Alibaba, if I just pull it up, Baba share price.
Baba.
Baba. And if we look over the past year, we've gone from $307.94, sorry, $319.32 down to $152. So we are at a 50% drop since our peak, which is October, around end of October. Now, there's lots of things going in Alibaba's favor. There's a few things that have gone against it, such as Jack Ma disappearing for a few months. Most likely a holiday or something, you never know.
It took a small family retreat.
Yeah. And a bit of regulatory crackdown around monopoly and possibly having to look at some of the businesses being, I guess, split up and taken out. But all in all, Alibaba, I think, is a really amazing business to be a part of. And I think going forwards, it's going to continue to grow. And it's had incredible growth over the past 3 to 5 years. If you go back 5 years, you can see the price we get it at now is the same price that it was, right back down around here. Or even if you go back to 2017, you're buying it for its 2017 price, which
is impressive.
4 years ahead is pretty impressive. But keep in mind that its financials have improved a lot since 2017. So if we go to Yahoo Finance, sorry, doing this a little bit on the fly here, and we search for Baba on the New York Stock Exchange. Here we go. And if we pull up our financials, and let's go annual, perfect. And we look from 2018, total revenue 250 billion, 2019 376 billion. Sorry, someone's calling me. You can give me a call back later, buddy. 509 billion goats back in 2020, and in 2021, 717 billion, with the trailing 12 months of 770 billion here, 769 billion.
That's craziness. It's almost $1 trillion of revenue. It's
crazy, isn't it? It's absolutely mental. And when we look at the share price here, if we go back to we can't even pull up to 2017 here, but we're going a year prior to this. We're going a year, like back down end of June, around here. That sort of area there. So we're buying it at an extra 9% on top of that for what the share price is. And the business, if you look at the revenue, has more than tripled. And if we scroll down to look at other things like net income, so you're 64 billion here, 64 million, sorry, to 150 million here. So sorry, that's billion because it's in thousands, 150 billion. So we've, 2.5x this, which is bloody fantastic. If we look at EBITDA,
they did 150 billion in profit.
Yes,
that's crazy. Because what was their market cap? 440 billion.
I'd have to go have a.
I think it was just on the Google one, on the Baba share price. Market cap 414, just over 400, and then 150 billion dollars of profit.
That seems to be what it says here, net.
Are people expecting him just to be crumbling in 2 years' time?
Interesting. Coming down to EBITDA, that has almost doubled. Gross profit continuing to massively increase. There's just a lot of positives looking at this company. A lot of positives, and they have such dominance in China, and Amazon relies so heavily on this company too, and pretty much everything e-commerce does. So when I look at this share price, and then another thing that really stood out to me is I've been researching a lot of Charlie Munger lately, because I think he's bloody hilarious. And he made his first trade in 7 years earlier this year. It was in Q1 this year, so it was between the 1st of January and was at the end of March. And what he bought was Alibaba, and he bought a lot of it. I think well in excess of about $100 million, maybe, off memory. And so he's made his first trade in 7 years into Alibaba. And what that tells me is, he's very much like Warren Buffett, he's a value investor, is he thinks the company's undervalued. You know what's super exciting? Is he thinks it's undervalued at $250, at $270. Somewhere in here, he feels like it's undervalued. And let's say he picked it at the best possible day, which is at the end of the quarter, $229 US. It's currently sitting at 153.
Oh, dude, I'm gonna pick some up.
153 US dollars.
I'll pick
So
some up after this episode.
I think for me, this is going to be an investment I'm going to look to go reasonably heavy into because
Mm.
I think they're going to be and other people that have invested heavily in Alibaba, I can't remember his bloody name now. It escapes me. Ray Dalio is another person who
Oh,
has
really?
recently invested very heavily into Alibaba. And it makes a lot of sense. These are people who look at business fundamentals. We're looking at a business that is making more money every single year. They're growing, they're growing, they're growing, and their share price is going down. And every time in history we've looked at a business like that, well, not every time, but many times, the person who buys it is someone like a Warren Buffett. And this person buys, they invest really heavily into this business and they buy it at a discount and they hold it for 10, 20, 30, 40 years
Mm.
and they make extremely large profits off that.
Mm. Have you read Principles by Ray Dalio?
I have.
Great book, first of all. But second of all, I was actually quite surprised with how tied up he is with China. He talks to a lot of the high-end officials over there. So if he's getting into this, he might know a little thing or two about like the fact that there won't be much regulation on him.
Yeah. So that's my excitement. That's the thing I'm looking at doing. And to do that, I'd like to free up some cash by selling off one of my NFTs at a profit.
At a profit.
At
Yeah,
a profit.
we're looking for that Curio bull run.
Yeah, look, I'd be upset if I lost money on that one. So I'm going to handball over to you now, and I'd love to hear about what you've been looking into.
Good transition, because I'm also in the Curio card game, and I hold a large percentage. And now this number is not updated. Let's get out of there. No one look at that. Get it to blur that number, please. That's the easiest way to do it. A lot of my capital is actually in, and this is actually an old number here, is in the Curio card. And it's been great short term. It's blown up. I think it got up to 75,000 or something. Now it's down 22. But it's like, it's a lot of capital that I don't get to play with. And I've seen a lot of projects that I've been looking at go from very low floors in the NFT world to floors comparable to this one that I just didn't have the capital available for. So I'm also looking for a little bit of a bull run to free up some capital there, or trying to leverage a DeFi loan if I can stake it and leverage it against it. But to update you, basically stocks pretty steady, slightly down. The Gary V book tokens, they're going to make an announcement next month about what they potentially might be. I know Gary V's working on VeeFriends version 2. I don't expect him to be a VeeFriends version 2 unless he literally makes hundreds of thousands of these things, because I'm pretty sure there's 100,000 of these tokens being given away. I've got 10 of them here in this challenge. I think I've got 26 of them total. But this is the one I actually wanted to talk about. And then I have another idea, which me and my team are basically going to execute on this month, next month, so October. But Sweet Future Flips. Now, this is something that we're both a big fan of. If we head over to Sweet Futures on the old Bitski, this is basically an exclusive NFT. If you don't know what NFTs is, you got a lot of catching up to do with our past episodes, and just Google it. Basically, it's collectibles that are digital. But this NFT, they're called Sweet Futures, and they're done on Bitski, which Gary Vee's a big advisor to. They have the exclusive rights to college football athletes. And they've come out with these college football cards. And there's 1 of 1s here. These are 100 total here. And then there's 2,000 total of these ones. So they're cores, golds, and I don't know what this one's called, like ruby, epics. And these are called rares, not golds. But essentially how this works is it's first come, first serve basis. And they drop where I am, at 11 p.m. on Fridays. And so we all sit around with our phones or our iPads and our computers, and we literally refresh the link and we race to buy these gold ones here, because I should actually just pull it up. They flip at a minimum of a break even. It's essentially, it's not financial advice, but they haven't yet flipped for less than you can buy them for. So if we type in Candy Digital is the brand over here on OpenSea. So this is the secondary market. So you buy it off Bitski, transfer it over to OpenSea, and you'd sell it over here. So we have a look at the activity. You can see these are the cards here. They do have other collections, but obviously these are these cards. Things like this, the Sam Howell Core. Now that's come down a bit in price, but I actually sold 3 of those for 0.059 or 0.069. That's actually a little bit back now because we're recording this on a Wednesday. And then the other one I sold was the Bijan Robinson Rare. I sold mine for 0.19. Just to get a little look at exactly how much that is. This is 0.18. It's about 522 US. Remember, they're 250 US to actually mint. So they're basically, I hate to say this, but a guaranteed break even and potentially a 3x on your money. I got just above a 2x on my money that time. And then for these core ones, the Sam Howell cores, I see this one sold at 0.61, which is, I think I sold mine at 0.61 or 0.69. Oh, I sold mine at 0.69. Sold mine for about 220 US, and you could have got them for $20 each. There are quite a bit of fees in the transferring and the selling and the royalties. But the turtle tracked on that. And it was funny because we had a free iPhone night where we were supposed to get the gold one and flip it, but we missed the gold. So I just offhandedly picked up 3 of these cores, and just I flipped them for like, I think all 3 of them I made about 580 US on them, and then the gold one I've also included in here. I made about $400 on. So that was a nice tidy profit of $646, and I like these sort of things because they're investments. I spent $250, but it's almost like a day job grind style where like I could put something in a curio card and like it does its own thing. This is something I almost have control over. Me and Pete were both trying to like hack the system or how you can refresh right on time. I use my iPad Pro because it's got a longer screen when you tilt it the other way, so you can see the button without having to scroll down. It's because the earlier you get the card, there's 100 of these gold cards. The earlier you get it, the more it's worth. Last week, I think I managed to snag number 6. But this Friday, actually, Pete, I was going to mention this to you before the show started. We have a potential Heisman Trophy winner, quarterback, going up for sale. I actually don't know specifically what it is. I believe it's like the MVP Heisman Trophy. Most outstanding player. So it's the MVP. He's like
big. It's big.
It's big. He's basically 5th in line for the MVP. Unfortunately, this will not be. If you're watching this, we're probably a couple of weeks out. He would have already gone. But wish Pete and I luck. Because the guy that we sold, Bijan Robinson, he's not really a big name player, and I made about $400 on him. But this guy, like if you can get the number 1 or the number 9, which is his player number, you potentially could make 5 to 10K on a flip like that. So this Friday, we're going to have NFT night again, and we're going to be going for, I actually don't even know his name, but I will once I get that number 1 card. And the other thing about this Friday is normally they drop 2 players at once. Like they drop Drake London and Bijan Robinson together. So like people split up and they go for each different one. So you have more chance of getting. They're actually dropping 3 players this week. So there's going to be less people, and most of them are going to go for this quarterback though. But it's going to be a race. And I think we've sort of hacked the system enough to be able to at least guarantee one. Fingers crossed, Wi-Fi sometimes goes slow and stuff, but I'd love to see us get a single digit between 1 and 10, one of these, and report it back in the sheet, because that would be a nice flip. Also, Gary V's are really pushing these cards quite heavy, which helps being able to flip it really quickly.
Would you just on that one, let's say you got number 1 or number 9 here.
Yeah.
Do you see it being better to hold it until he's like drafted, or would you try and flip it?
So it's a great question. For me, I really like what I've learned in NFA with the social arb thing. It's like, I like holding something until I feel like information parity has like caught up. Almost like that curio card. It's like, this was the first ever NFT on the Ethereum, art NFT on the Ethereum blockchain. Information sort of did catch up with everyone in the NFT world, and that's why it's come down a little bit. Now, information obviously is not caught up mainstream. So if you wanted to hold it until mainstream adoption occurred, which was my intention, it's going to go up. But I feel like for these sweet future flips, because I'm not educated on college football, the players, I would like to do a quicker flip. I prefer to buy it for $250, sell it for $3,000, and then put that $3,000 into something I know a little bit better. But I trust Gary, and Gary keeps saying he strongly recommends people pick up these cards. So definitely player's choice. But for me, I'm gonna keep going in those quick flips because I don't have time to wait 3 years until he's like in the NFL and tweets something out, and all of a sudden it's worth $12,000. It's like, I'll take my $4,000 now and I'll flip it into $12,000 while that happens. The last thing that I have to update for next month is we are in the works of creating our own NFT collection. Now, I was hesitant to do this, and I was going to do it as a YouTube video just to learn the coding and the education of like the technology, because I like to be practical when I learn things. But I spoke to a couple of friends and my brother as well, and it's like we're seeing so many projects do very well that we could have easily created, and we could have created them better. So we're looking to create something that's extremely valuable for the actual people who hold it. And where we're currently brainstorming, we're like in the really early phases of it. What we're currently brainstorming is almost like, so if I head over to OpenSea, because I'm curious on your thoughts on this as well. And if you're watching, comment below. There's things like, what are they called? Not crypto. Now, I've spoken about these before on this channel. These cyberkongs, they're basically, there's a Genesis cyberkong. There's only 100 of them available. Wow, I didn't see this. This is the non-Genesis cyberkongs. These are the baby kongs, the ones that are obviously baby monkeys. 7.5. That was sitting around 3 last time I looked. So that's looking good. But if I go high to low, you'll see the Genesis ones. And these ones are going for, so you can see they're not baby ones anymore. That's not the real price. We're going to go highest last sale to see what they last sold for. You can see this last sold for 150, which is almost $500,000, 120, 199. These things are selling. The Cyberkong Genesis floor is about 80 ETH, which is like $240,000. Now, why? How the hell do you get so much value in a pixel monkey? Well, the further I dig and the more people I talk to, it's like the people in this NFT game are the ones who are actually creating the hype and creating the value. And if you know the right people, you're going to get the tip-offs for the projects that all the billionaires, the whales, the people are actually getting into. And if you have something like a Cyberkong, you're actually making money on the rest of the baby kongs on this trade volume here. There's a DAO where you actually get a percentage of that. But it's mostly network and knowledge. And things like the punks, the Cyberkongs, even those rocks where that guy was like, I was in this Telegram group full of absolute billionaire whales who like didn't even bat an eyelid about giving me $1.4 million for my rock that I minted for like $3,000. It's like there are these people out there who are literally dictating where the market goes. I heard Mr. Beast on Logan Paul's podcast talk about like Gary Vee added Logan Paul and Mr. Beast into a Zoom room, which had 100 of the top influencers in the world on there. And he's like, go buy CryptoPunks. And everyone went and bought a CryptoPunk. And obviously it helped the rise of the CryptoPunks, but you can't, I think it just like sped up the inevitable. But essentially where I'm going with this is there are these exclusive groups that are really hard to get into. I'd love to get a Cyberkong, but I don't have 240,000 US that I can just throw into one so I can get the tip-offs and what else to get. The CryptoPunks, the Rocks, there's a couple of other ones. Alex Beck is releasing his Neo Tokyos, which is basically you have to go through this like obstacle course to actually get one of these. And in order to, this is actually not, this is a scam. If anyone's looking, don't go to this website. Someone's trying to scam everyone who's following the Becker riddles. But Alex Becker, who's quite high up on these NFTs and crypto, he's setting up this obstacle course for you to get into this citadel, and there's only 100 spots available. And in order to get to the obstacle course, you have to solve these problems and mint and bridge from AVAX and get your wallet whitelisted at the right time and not get it blacklisted like we almost had if we didn't forget. And basically at the end, you're left with 100 people who really are smart. I call them big brains. And it's basically just like a big round table of everyone who's smart being like, look, here's the hot tip in the NFT world. Here's the hot tip in the NFT world. So what I'm thinking with our NFTs is we become a ticket for the small guy to get the right tips. And essentially you buy it at floor. You might be able to even mint it for free. And you get added into this Discord where we fundraise or crowdfund a Cyberkong, or we crowdfund a Neo Tokyo character once we have enough secondary market sales. And what we do is we go into these groups and we just we find out what they're doing and report it back in the Discord. And we can have bots, just like there's this Gary V bot tracker. And every time Gary V recommends something, we post it in our Discord. And it can be a very low hanging fruit and an easy way to get these tips inside a community and create this culture, like almost like the DumbMoney TV Discord, where everyone's just posting their own tips and everyone's like reviewing them and stuff like that. And I was like, it'd be really cool to do that through an NFT. So you have to have the NFT to get into that. And the proceeds from the NFT go to the expensive NFTs so we can get better and better info into our group.
That is unreal. Imagine that.
What are your thoughts on something like that?
Well, I mean, I don't have many thoughts at this stage. I think I'd have to go away and sort of sit down and go like, what does that actually look like from a practical standpoint? Because I think my knowledge on NFTs is very low at the moment. And so to understand the value that's going to come from being a part of the Cyberkongs or those other groups, I still don't fully understand how that's going to play out in the real world, and even how that could play out. Like, is there a way that they would try and push people out if they were doing that kind of thing as well?
Yes.
If it's very much the inner circle, and we're like, we can get heaps of small people into the inner circle, kind of ruins the inner circle.
Yeah. There'll be a leak.
So the leak. So it's like, how do you keep that secret?
Yep.
Or are they totally cool with that? And that's like, great work to these guys. That's fantastic.
Yeah. It's a good point.
But I think it's an amazing idea to crowdfund to buy a Cyberkong for $240,000 that allows people within this group to get the information from the experts in the field so that they can all benefit from that.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
I think there's something there. We've got to perfect exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But even like so many people are like, even us, we've got these WhatsApp groups and like these NFT groups. And it's like, I'm part of like 8 of them. I'm like, we could all just I could just put this all in one spot and have other people out there whose full-time job, like my brother's excellent at it, is to put this in the one spot and reward people who are inside that NFT group to get these tips.
Yeah.
And then I'm also thinking of I actually won't say it here, but there's other ways that I want to bring a lot of value to that. But basically, if we're going ahead with it in a serious way, we're going to make sure we're trying to Gary V it and just like literally reinvest these profits to bring more value, so we can actually make this a really awesome group.
That'd be cool. Bring more value.
I'll be documenting that here.
0 to 1 million.
0 to 1 million.
Oh, that's unreal, mate. Well, sign me up. I'm in.
Yes, we've got one.
I'll take a Genesis Benji.
Genesis Benji Kong.
Genesis Benji Kong. I'm in. Bloody brilliant. Should we share where we're at now?
Yeah. You want to hit that?
I will hit that in just a second. There we go. If we jump back to our dashboard now, it's a very upsetting day here as I change this to be black. Oh, wrong one. There we go. Technical difficulty. We can chop that out, right?
Chop that out.
What we can see is there's been a $8,700 loss, and that really all came from my NFTs. So hoping to see those move back in the right direction over the coming weeks. And we've got the Christie's sale, which should be coming up in the next few days, I believe.
A couple of days, like 3 days.
So I wonder if they sell for a very, very large amount, what happens? And also if they don't sell for heaps, what happens?
Yeah.
That could be interesting. And actually, I'll let you go first. I'll call this one for us.
So I am also well down at $10,000 down. Also because of my curio. Basically just my curio really. But you know, that's what I'm learning in this challenge, which has been really refreshing. It's like it's okay to go down $13,500, $9,000, $10,000 in a week if you're strong in like your fundamental knowledge of why you're in it. You can double into it. And also, if you don't have this sort of volatility or risk, we're not going to get the upside we need to get to $1 million.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the alternative, if we have a look over there at the S&P, and we're back because it's Wednesday and it's been rough since Sunday to Wednesday. So on Sunday it was $30,739, and now it's actually $30,033. It's like, well, the safe option hasn't really been doing very well either. So I'm all about just risk, and that's sort of why I like those Bitsky ones too. It's almost like less risk, more my time in there. So I want a combination of like my hustle and then my investments, and have a meet in the middle and $1 million one day before Pete.
One day, but it is exciting to see us beating the S&P 500, because this is the thing we want to beat more than anything, is making sure that we are staying ahead of this. Because if we're behind this, we may as well have just relaxed, put our money in the S&P 500 and done nothing.
Go and had a coconut on the beach.
Go and had a coconut on the beach.
This is also, it's funny. I don't know if I mentioned it here, but it's like this, the S&P 500 is the one we make fun of because it's like, it's literally at zero. But it's like, as we keep doing this, and we're like in our like 11th year or something, funny, and how it just like it chases us down with like the slowest like turtle in the hair, and like year 11, like, dude, the S&P is really coming for us.
It's looking good right now.
Yeah, 11 years of work being like, maybe there was something to that.
No, it's good. So, but realistically, the S&P 500, put 30K in there, it's going to do really well over the long term, but it's not going to hit $1 million in 3 years. And if we're going to do that, we're going to take some risks, larger rewards. They just have to be really well calculated. And yeah, the big thing we're working on here is a bit of value trading combined with social arb.
Yes. And I think the one thing I'll add to that too is like the bigger risks, the bigger reward. It's also the bigger risks. I feel like the bigger experience and the bigger than my knowledge becomes of what I'm actually doing. So it's like, even if I don't make money for 2.5 years and then figure out the one way that, or the one thing you can invest in that's going to do a quick 30x, I feel like I'm just learning so much in the world of NFTs and crypto and stuff, and just seeing these 30x's almost every week. And it's just like, yeah, if you were just in that right place and you had that right knowledge, if you were in the cyberkong circle, you'd get there.
Yeah, definitely. It's really so much in making money in finance and business is the people you hang around with, because it changes your mind, how you see the world. You see opportunities and things that you otherwise wouldn't have. Before this challenge, I would never have bought a JPEG of a painting or a nuts, or I don't even know what the other one is, the BTC graffiti one. And admittedly, they're down and I'm losing money at the moment. But over the long term, we expect that to increase. And that a lot of that came from watching the stuff that you do and starting to learn from you around NFTs and how that really can be changing the world, especially from a financial standpoint, from an art standpoint. So I'm getting that from you. Hopefully you also get some things from me. We'll see how that goes too. But if we can add more people into that circle that we learn from, whether that's through one of the cyberkongs or getting into another Discord group like that, I think that's where there's so much value going to be coming.
I agree. Yeah, it's been awesome. That's basically 99% of the reason we did the channel. I guess 50% educate ourselves and hang out, but then also to start bringing like-minded people into this community.
Absolutely.
And if you're watching now, you're really early. Congrats.
You are very early. You're basically you're getting a cyberkong for 1 ETH.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, that about sums it up. Like and subscribe if you'd like to hear some more. We'd love to hear what you want to know as well. I'll be interested to follow Benji's NFT journey as he goes on creating these, but we'd also like to know from the people who do watch this, what is it that you'd like us to delve into, and what areas of finance do you think might be worthwhile for us to look at investing in as well? because open to all ideas here.
I like that. It's good. And don't sleep on Pete too, because he's got the Amazon business brewing in the background. Doesn't even get mentioned.
Slowly.
Yeah, that nose.
She's
The
coming.
nose is building in secret, and you're gonna pull out the extension all at once and be like, "Oh, there you go."
Oh, it's all the business for 2 mil.
Yeah, exactly.
Amazing.
All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Catch you later.